If you're feeling discouraged when it comes to creating YouTube content for lead generation, then this is a conversation you really need to take to heart. Today, I bring on Henrick Mathieu, who felt that way as well, like many of you, where he was putting out content, only getting 10 to 40 views, and really didn't feel like it was coming across authentically, and thus kind of stopped. And so today, Henrik breaks down very tactically how he found the motivation to keep going with his YouTube content despite getting little to no views, how he's now generating consistent closed deals from his channel, how he's also transitioning it to a more listing focused seller lead generation initiative, and also how to find your voice and very tactical things that you can start doing to improve your content every single time so that you go from feeling a little bit burnt out and overwhelmed to getting excited about putting out that next video and making it a part of your process where the right people are coming to you just by you being authentically yourself. This is probably one of the most relatable videos that you're going to find on leveraging content because he struggled, he got burnt out, he felt overwhelmed, he felt inauthentic, but all of that has changed based on the things that he's going to share with you today. So 2 quick things before bringing on Henrik. Number 1, I'm going to link all of his incredible content below so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. And number 2, if you're looking for help in your YouTube journey and one-on-one personal support to take your content to the next level and start to generate leads yourself, I will also link his calendar below so you can chat with him about getting his support as well as mine to take your channel to the next level and start to generate endless free leads. So let's bring on Henrik and talk about how to really embrace this journey, how to paint a long-term picture, and how to start getting massive results from your free content. All right, guys, super excited to come back with an incredible conversation today related to YouTube and not just finding your voice, but also being able to push through adversity when you feel like giving up and having a long-term strategy for success. So really excited to have you on here, Henrik, and to be able to kind of unpack your journey that, you know, as we spoke about off camera, a lot of times people are seeing the, you know, unicorn success stories when it comes to content and YouTube, and, you know, people were, you know, they just start and it just works out, but that's not, you know, relatable to everybody, and it certainly isn't the path that you went down. So, you know, I'm excited to kind of unpack that. But first, before getting into it, why don't you just explain who you are, where you're from, what kind of got you to this point, and then we could start diving in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me today. Really appreciate it. Basically, Henrick Mathieu, I was in the military for 7 years. They got my license in Ontario, moved out to Ottawa, and start in a completely new market. I knew no one here, and still to this day, like most people I know are other agents. So that's all my network. So I had to start from scratch. Like you'll be able to tell during the interview, English is not my first language, right? So if I'm looking for some words, it's not because I'm slow, it's because I'm looking for some words. Okay, I speak French first. And I got into this really just because someone told me, like, hey, you're pretty loud, you should be an agent. I'm like, oh, you might be right. So I took my license, like I said, started from scratch. And then I started looking at ways, like I'm a student, right? I like to learn ways to better myself, to better my business, obviously. And then I started, you know, the classic door knocking and all that stuff. And then I found your videos, actually, like most people do. And I was like, YouTube might be a way for me to increase like my presence and get that business, not necessarily easy, like more easily, but in ways that that aligns with what I like to do, right? And I'm pretty comfortable usually in front of camera, so I'm like, I'm gonna give that a shot, right? And that got me into a 3-year long journey on YouTube with a lot of ups and downs. And like you said, like my journey is nothing like the golden boy story. Like a lot of people you have on your channel that are amazing realtors, amazing stories. But I think that ultimately a lot of us fall short of that, and it's easy to get discouraged. So I think that today there's going to be a lot of value for people that are in that self-doubt mindset and like always looking for the shiny object and kind of like are on the verge maybe to fall apart and just like, you know, forget YouTube, I'll do something else. I think there's going to be a lot of value for those people today to kind of like push through a lot of insight. And I'm going to share my story and like all the doubts that I went through. And I think that's going to resonate a lot with your viewers.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, you know, I'd love to kind of unpack why you decided to go down the route of YouTube, because I know for a lot of people, that's kind of an overwhelming subject to kind of take on, especially, you know, people where English maybe isn't their first language. And so what kind of led you to diving into YouTube as a platform for lead generation?
Man, I mean, we start with no insight whatsoever, right? You leave school, you have your license, and then like, good luck. but no one tells you about sales, no one tells you about marketing. You're just like, find your, yeah, good luck, man. And like, I'm the only salary at home. We have a brand new baby. My wife doesn't work, so I need to make it work. And then after after doing some door knock, I'm like, this sucks. Like, I mean, I got some business out of it, but like the amount of people I can see during it, like one set frame like period of time versus like a YouTube that's like always there. People can always access my content, and I can articulate and give much more value than I can in like 20, 30 seconds at someone's door. I'm like, it's not comparable, right? So with that in mind, I kind of started studying like a lot of different, like we'll talk about inspiration, but I started studying a lot of different creators online, and not just realtors, because I found that if you just study realtors, you kind of confine yourself within just that sphere. And I think that to be proficient and in YouTube, you gotta be unique, right? You gotta bring something different. So I started studying like a lot, like Peter McKinnon was a big thing. And then you can go down the rabbit hole, and that's kind of like one of the pitfall that I fall into, like maybe a lot of people. But yeah, so YouTube was kind of the way for me to be in front of as many people as possible in a new market where I know absolutely no one, and become kind of that local, we'll say celebrity, right? The guy that the face of Ottawa real estate. That's kind of the ultimate goal. And I'm pretty comfortable in front of camera. I always kind of been. I love the drama. I love, being extra on camera. So for me, it wasn't such a hurdle. Like for some people are more shy in front of camera. For me, it was easier to get acclimated to this. Gravitated more around video for that reason. And I'm not like, I paid for leads. I did all that stuff too, right? And it was like most leads that you buy, they're garbage, and they're sold to all other realtors in your city. Door knocking again was okay, but it's really, you can only do so much within a certain time frame. So it does work, but you have limited exposure there. And it's just that day when you're done, you're done. There's nothing else. Like you're done, right? And what else can you do? Like open houses, I don't mind it, but your business depends a lot on other people willingness to let you host their open houses, which is not a given. In our market, I don't know how it works, in other markets, but here I can only host for other EXP agents. So I'm like, hey, I hate begging. Like it's my business. I should be in control of my business, and begging for you to let me maybe have some buyers. I think it killed me inside. So I still do it when I want to just like do a bit more, but that couldn't be like the central lead gen of my business. Not when I have a family on the line. I need to be in control of it and create your own content and become that celebrity. And having like being in control of all of it, I think gives you a lot of freedom. And that's, I think, why a lot of people get into this job in the first place, is to get that freedom, own your business, being your own man. Like stopping working from the man, so you can stop working from one and just start begging for someone else, right? So that's kind of what led me into YouTube and become serious with this.
Yeah, I love it. And you've obviously got an incredible setup now, and we can kind of get into what that looks like. But, I would love to kind of take it back to the beginning, because I think, again, going back to that relatability, you have a journey that a lot of people can resonate with, which is that it didn't just come together overnight. It was something that you invested a lot of time into. But also, I'd love to kind of go down the conversation of you committing to it and finding your voice, because I find a lot of people struggle to create content because they're trying to portray themselves maybe as somebody else that they like or that they see, instead of being authentically themselves. So do you want to kind of talk about that journey of how you're able to find your unique voice and being able to commit to it even without seeing the results coming through?
Yeah, well, it's funny, man, because like I'll be honest with you, like it has been an ongoing battle, because you see something like at first, like you had Sumin Kim on here, right? And a big guy, big transaction volume, like he's doing amazing, right? So I tried doing exactly what he does, and then I did it for a certain amount of weeks, and I thought, oh, my videos are good, oh, my videos might be even better than his, and then I don't get the business out of it that I would like to get, and I'm like, oh, I might be doing something wrong, or oh, this doesn't work for my market. So you switch, then you do something else for 3 to 5 to 6 weeks, and then it doesn't work, so you switch and you switch and you switch, and then you get discouraged because it's not working. It's not working because what you create is not good. It's not working because you're not consistent, and that's always been one of my big struggles. I think this for a lot of people watching is the same, right? So I wasn't consistent, and I was always trying to switch and switch. And the way YouTube works is YouTube is going to push your content to the first batch of people to see if they like it. And if they do, and if they watch it, they're going to push to more people and more people. So if you switch content every 4 weeks, YouTube is going to, like, people watching home tours are not necessarily the same people watching, Ottawa-centric content, like for my market, right? So they push that content to the wrong people. And then YouTube is like, what are you doing? Like, what content are you creating? Who am I supposed to show this to? And then finally, no one's going to see it. So the reason why a guy like Suman will have like a lot of success, it's because he stick to it. Every week, same content, same video, same value added, like just in and out, right? And that's why it's so successful. And I think that's probably the most important thing for agents starting this, is just be consistent. Like if you watch a lot of content creators, like Mr. Beast, for example, one of the biggest YouTuber out there, he says your first 100 videos are going to suck. No one's going to watch them. They're going to suck. It's kind of harsh when you think about it, but it also gives you the freedom to suck for 100 videos. Like, just improve one thing every video. So once I heard that, I was like, he's right. My videos should suck. And I one of the pitfall I fell into is like, I'm very perfectionist with my videos. And I feel like we put a lot of time into this. So I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right, which is part of the right mind frame. But perfection is the enemy of progress, right? So if you want to be too perfect, then you end up doing nothing. And that cost me, probably a lot of business, because I was, I'm not going to do a video this week because I'm not satisfied with the way it looks. But it would have been better to just post it, even at 80% of the quality that I was expecting to get, and have something out there, and then work on something else and just improve. And at the end of that year, you have 52 videos out instead of 20. And then YouTube likes you and shows your stuff, and then you get the ball rolling, and you stay in that mood of creating and working on your business, on your lead gen. And it's so important to just stay in that mood, right? It's like going to the gym. If you go like 5 times in 1 week and then you take 2 weeks off, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, there's not going to be any results, any consistency. And then the week that you're going to start again is going to be, like such a pain in the ass, right? You don't want that. You want to consistently go at it, just create a little bit every day, sit down, script, do one thing related to YouTube. Just like do anything, but at least every day. Like, you're on your couch, like you have a shit day, you don't want to do anything, at least get in your couch, just script something, like an intro for one video. Just keep your mind on YouTube and be consistent with it. And that's going to be the biggest driver of success for your business, for sure. But yeah, so like I say that, right? And I struggled a lot with that. I always did like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm on fire, and then 1 week I fall apart, and like the next week I'm like, don't have time for this, and then I skip 3 weeks, and then it's the cycle that repeats itself. And even last year, like I think for a lot of realtors out there, I think they were in the same scenario. So that's what I mean. I think it's really relatable. Last year was really painful for real estate for most people. It was so painful here that I had to take a part-time job because we had a baby on the way. So part-time job, doing whatever I could in real estate. YouTube was out the window. I didn't have any time for this. So I spent a year without doing some videos. And I recently just started again, like posting and being more consistent and really studying a lot more. How can I make this? How can I find the right inspiration, the right content, and stick with it and improve one thing every video? And that's been kind of my driving mindset recently. Just stick to it, man. Keep your head down, do the same content for 6 months. I analyzed my, I think being mindful of like the metrics on YouTube are really important as well, because you need to know where you've been to know where you're going, right? So if you just like, that helps you improve, right? So I took the time to sit down and really analyze every video, like the watching curve, like watching time, like the click-through rate, my thumbnails, everything. Compare this to a lot of my competitors in different markets, like see what they do that works, what I do that works, what's my long-term strategy with this. So I took the time to do this, and I came up with a strategy that I like, that I feel is going to work, and it has been proven to work in other markets. And even with all that work behind me, I still find myself having doubt, because it's human, right? I did a video, spent 2 weeks ago, one of my, I think, really good video about like the ultimate guide to moving to Ottawa, right? I spent a lot of time on the editing. I do still do everything myself. Can talk about this later, but spent a lot of time on it. think it's a really good video. I mean, the energy was there. They edit, like, I think, you put some work into it. You're proud of it, right? And after a week, I get like 40 views. I'm like, shoot me. Like, this is shit. Like, I hate this, right? And I think that's the problem. It was my first or second video back in that kind of process and that kind of type of content. And see, this week I stick to it. Another video, kind of more talking head video, and like already YouTube likes me more. Like, I can see the retention curve is better because he's showing my stuff to the right audience. So just 1 week after, I get more back out of it. So I'm like, okay, now it's motivating a little bit more. So like, if I can just keep mine down for 3 to 6 months and do it, imagine how much satisfaction I can get out of this on the long run. If after just 1 week, YouTube is like, oh, okay, I know who I need to show this to. I know what your vibe is, and push it to the right people. So this is my struggle, right? So I told it would be relatable. Like, everyone struggles with this. So just keep your head down and do it for 6 months. Just have a good strategy, keep your head down, and pump a video a week. Improve one thing a video. Just make it better and be honest with yourself, right? If something sucks, it sucks. Like, and surround yourself with people that are going to tell you it sucks. Not just like, yes, man, they're going to be like, oh, your content is great. If your content is trash, you need someone to tell you, because you need to create something else. You need to improve, right? So there's a lot there. But I think that the main thing is just stick to something and like, just keep your head down and do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that's so important, being able to commit to, and I love that you took that angle of what Mr. B said of just saying your first 100 videos are going to suck, and just accept that, but use it as a learning experience so that your next 100 can be incredible. And not many people have that kind of perspective. And I think it goes back to, even just starting a business. It's like, if you were to start a business, would you just try it for 6 months, and then if it doesn't work out, you just give up and go to the next business? No, you'd probably figure it out to keep going until it works. But a lot of people have such an instant gratification perspective where they sell themselves short before they start to see the tangible fruit of their labor. And so for you, I think, I'd like to kind of dive a little bit deeper on finding your voice and starting to get to the point where you can be more authentic and genuine, because I found even that was with my own YouTube journey. When I started on YouTube, you go back to my old videos, I was trying to be a different version of somebody else, and I saw people that are super hyped all the time and overwhelmed with energy, and I was trying to be like that. And the second that I just said, hey, that's not really me, when I go back and watch those videos, I'm just going to be myself, that's the same year that my channel went from 3,000 to 20,000 subscribers, and it blew up my business. And so what was the journey like for you to kind of watch what other people are doing, like Suman or other people you might be studying, but then be able to put your own flair on it and say, I need this to be me because I want to attract people that like me for me?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think you put your finger on it, right? That what's different about the type of content that we create as realtors is that it's not entertainment mostly. It's not like only education, because the value is, you want to provide value, but ultimately you want people to relate to you, right? So if you just present information in boring kind of fashion, it's like, hey, these are the facts, it's all right. But ultimately you want people to reach out to you and be drawn to your videos and your channel because they like you, right? Yeah. So with that in mind, I mean, you got to find some type of content that you like. If you like doing home tours, you like the, be more cinematic about it, like, do that, right? If you want to do just like talking head videos, talking about your neighborhood, you can do that as well. You can do a mix if you want. I just personally found out that YouTube likes it better when you stick to one thing, because it's not necessarily the same audience for both. And this might be true for my market. Like, take this with a grain of salt for your market. You can test stuff out, right? But like, I was really into the cinematic, into dramatic. And I like I said, Peter McKinnon, really cinematic, really like, wow, right? And that's what I wanted to create. And I started doing this and I started doing this and I got some gear and I was like really investing time in this. And well, one, I'm not Peter McKinnon, so my stuff did look like his. So that was a bit of a hurdle. I'm like, well, I suck at this because I've never edited, I never shot, I never done anything. And I'm trying to emulate this guy that's been in this business for all his life with all the best gear. So like, there's a disconnect already, right? But I took some inspiration of this, the elements of cinematic, dramatic. So I try to incorporate this. But at first, it was a hurdle. It was like, it's a pitfall because then I tried to do too much. And like, you got to find a balance, right? I like the cinematic, but spending 20 plus hour to get that look or like very specific look, not really worth it when you're a business owner. And like Peter McKinnon, like YouTube is his business, right? My business is not YouTube. Business is a tool for my business. So I can't be spending 40 hours a week on one video that 40 people are going to see, right? So when you reach a point where you have a whole team and like people following you around with cameras, then you maybe have some freedom to push the boundaries a little bit. But when you start, it's all you. You gotta find some inspiration from different creators, and I think it's important to go outside of the real estate realm for this. So like Peter McKinnon was a big inspiration, like I mentioned. Recently, Ali Abdaal, like 5.2 million followers. I don't know if right. And you said like a lot of people will be like super energetic, and Ali is like super chill. He talks in that voice. He's very himself. So, and that opened my eyes to like, okay, I don't need to be that character or like that just be myself. I'm naturally more energetic when I talk. And I was trying to do the opposite. I was trying to tone myself down, talk with that voice and be more. And I tried a few videos like this and it didn't feel right. It was horrible to shoot for me. I felt like I was like really like putting myself down. But also when I watched it back, I'm like, something's off. Like it's not watchable. I hate it, right? So you gotta find the inspiration that stuff that you like to watch. Because like when you like, and a lot of people, you'll spend a lot of time on YouTube. Right? Everyone's on YouTube all the time. Okay. But when you're a creator, I think it's important to find people that you like, that you already watch, but watch it through the lens of a creator. Why do you like their content? Why do you revolve around that creator specifically? How do they structure their videos to get you to watch the whole thing, right? Because there's a lot that goes into a video. It's not, now, right? You've been in this business for so long, man. Like, it's not just like start a camera, talk, close the camera, post. Like, there's a lot more than this. And recently I got into scripting my videos a lot more. And the view, that curve when people are just keep watching is much, much better. So I think it's just important to look at every aspects of the creator that you like. And that's going to help your videos a lot, because those people with 5.3 million followers or whatever, like, they didn't just happen to like, they're doing something right. So you should study what they're doing, right? If you study like the main competitor in your area, you might end up just copying what they do. And then you're two identical guys in the same city doing the same thing, right? So if you want to study realtors, at least go out of your market. Go out like there's some names, I'm not going to name drop here, but there's some big creators in other markets that I resonate with because they kind of have the same vibe that I'm going for, and they have a proven model. It works in their city, so I can take some elements of this and some elements of that and incorporate some cinematic stuff that I like and some like Ali Abdaal, whatever, and this becomes my brand. This becomes me, and over all of this, it needs to be me. It's like, this is the flavors I want, but ultimately it's me. The brand is me, right? So I incorporate all this flavor, but people need to be attracted to you, right? Can I name drop one guy? Like, Brad McCallum. I think he's a big realtor in the YouTube space for his home videos, and people will often say like, yeah, but look at the quality, like it's amazing. He's an amazing videographer. But ultimately, what people fail to realize is that a lot of people have no business watching stuff in Calgary real estate. They don't care about Calgary real estate. They care about seeing homes through his eyes because he's their brand. Like, people want to visit homes with his personality. I would tour the same homes, the same videography. It probably wouldn't have the same success because I'm not him. So you want to do that with your channel. You want to be the channel, and people want to consume the information you have to give because they like the way you give it and you like your energy, and that's going to drive them to come back to the channel. If you do one video with super great information, but they don't stick to you, they have no incentive to come back, right? Because they have the information they need and then they're just gone. So they need to come for the information and then be attracted to the flavor that you offer, and then come back to the channel to see you because they revolve on you. So all of this for saying, like, find your inspiration around things that you like. Look at stuff through the creator lens and not always through just the consumer lens. And you're going to end up with a package that ultimately you and unique, and that's going to be your brand.
Yeah, I think it's, one of the important talking points that I really love the direction that you took this in is the conversation around when you're consuming content, don't just listen to what they say, but how they say it. And I think a lot of people are consuming for entertainment versus consuming for education. And I think if you're able to, for me, I watch very specific people. Ali Abdal's one of them. You look at Hermosi, you look at a number of other people that I follow.
Yes.
And when I'm watching the videos, it's like, okay, usually I'll watch it once if it's a topic that I care about to just learn. But then I'll watch it a second time and say, why did I stay to the end? What based on the thumbnail got me to click? Why did the title pique my interest? How can I repurpose that title and make it real estate related? How did the intro start to hook me to the end? And you start to take a calculated approach and use it as a tool versus a toy. And I think a lot of people aren't kind of taking a step back and putting their business hat on when they're consuming content to say, what can I learn from this? Not just based on the words being said, but how and why it's being said that way. And because obviously if you're consuming Ali Abdal's content, there's something about it that aligns with you, your brand, your personality, and what you care about and how you want to emulate that. And so I really like that you took it in that direction. And, one of the other conversations I'd love to have before kind of getting into the tactical of your setup and best piece of advice is, buyers versus listings and being able to have that long-term plan. Because a lot of people kind of have, especially with the whole NAR settlement in the States, knowing a lot of people are going to be watching this in the States, a lot of people are now kind of taking the stance of, well, YouTube just generates relocation buyers. That's not going to be worth my time as much anymore. It doesn't get listings. But you and I both know that that's not the case and that you can generate a ton of listings through YouTube. What did that journey look like for you? And how can you help people better understand the importance of first building a foundation, but having that long-term vision of where it can go?
Yeah, well, absolutely, man. Like you're right. I think this is something that comes up pretty often. It's like people are the question, right? How do I get seller leads, right, from YouTube? And I don't think there's a secret to it, right? Like I think the way the course is set up, right? Social Asian Academy offers a really good template to start, and you kind of need to go through those videos to kind of find your footing and establish yourself as, I know what I'm talking about. Like, this is my area. I'm in this sphere, right? But past that, I think it's important to have a long-term strategy. Like, okay, where do I see my channel go in 5 years? Like, what direction can I take to not only attract relocation buyers, which is mostly what we're going to get with the type of video you put in at first, but how can I slowly make the switch to attract people in my market and people in my city currently that might want to buy, but like we're looking more for sellers, right? So again, that's not something I invented. I didn't reinvent the wheel, and I don't think anyone should try to. There's enough people out there that are way better at what they're doing than I am. Then I just can like look at what they're doing, like that makes sense, and I can do that too because I'm not a dummy, right? So, I'm not gonna name him. Big channel down in Florida. I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about. But he started doing home tours, like the classic stuff, right? And slowly start incorporating elements of talk about what's going on in the city. So every 4 video would be maybe, market update, and then like adding something about the news, like some regulation about the city, some new stuff that opened, whatever, right? And then slowly his content started to gravitate more around the city and less about just general, neighborhood stuff, like, neighborhood tours, community, whatever, right? It was more really like city-centric, slowly, right? Because you need to build that audience first, and then you can slowly take your audience and be like, hey, I do this also. And then he ended up with a channel that's like, it's like the news. Like, I'd rather watch him than the news because it's all about the city. It's what's come. It's not just like the drama of the city. It's actually very helpful, like new development, new communities, so and said park opened there. The new regulation is going to affect the homeowners. So it's like, if you're an owner in that city, those are the things affecting you. Those are the things you might be looking for to get answers, because like the papers are not helpful. Like, it's always, a bit blurry, and he's able to articulate. He's very articulate though, but he's able to convey that information. So people in the city, actually, that guy's like 45,000 followers. Like, he's the news in his city. So I think that he's done very well. But I think we can take elements of this and be like, okay, like, how can I apply this to my market? And that's kind of the way I want to do it too, right? Now I'm doing every 3 videos for me is going to be a market update, just because I think that even with all the videos you do, I think it's important for you to be like, I try to be entertaining and like even funny sometimes because that's my vibe, right? But I think it's important to like let people that you know what's going on in your market. You're not just a pretty face. You're not just like a cool guy on YouTube. Like, you know the numbers and you can actually help them. So I think that for me it's kind of stable. And to this, I always attach something to the news. So like now it's like the rate drop. The week before it was the month before, sorry, it was like the zoning element and how it's going to affect the city. And slowly, once my following increase, I'll try to do 2 videos a month that are more, city centric, so I can attract people. And not only people finding my channel for the first time, but a lot of people that found my channel to move to Ottawa, maybe moved to Ottawa, and now I'm just their source of news because they like me and trust me, and they talk to their friend or whatever, and like people start finding me in the city, and I can have the 2 angles for lead generation. But yeah, so it's not a secret, right? But even my home tours, right? If you look on my channel, I did a few home tours. That's something I try to do for a bit, and with our other conversation. But yesterday, that's funny because yesterday that lady called me in the morning. She's like, "Oh, we watched your home tour about this builder home. We liked it, so we went and bought it." I'm like, "Well, I didn't get paid for this, but thank you for the vote of confidence." But she also said, "Now we want to sell our home, so could you just like swing by and give us like your spiel?" So like that's a seller out of nowhere. So although I didn't get the buying side, I did get some new built buying side, but that was completely out of the blue. So you never know where your next deal is going to come. So just by putting yourself out there, it's a butterfly effect, right? You do one thing, you never know where it's going to lead. Like, I didn't get another deal I got, like, really weird, but as you do home tours, you're going to be around builders a lot and sales centers, and you just got to introduce yourself all the time. And they get to know you, right? So I leave my card all the time. I just chat them up, try to be nice. I bring some banana bread sometimes, try to, soften them up a bit. And then out of the blue again, like she called me, I'm like, "Hey, we have French clients here. They can't speak a word of English. Just show up, translate for them. We'll give you the commission." I showed up, spent 2 hours, and made like how many money? Like, almost 15 grand on that deal, just because I showed up to the sales centers, gave my card, chat him up, be just a nice guy, and I got the sale, right? So you can neglect, like, YouTube is a thing, but doing the action also going to make you do a lot of things around this that also can attract business. So you can forget that's more than just your face on screen. It's all the actions that you'll do and bathe into like the action and moving forward. That's also generating a lot of business. So yeah, so long-term strategy, I think it's really important. Whatever it looks like for you, I think that's going to help you transition your content from just relocation buyers to maybe more local buyers, and get to that point where you're actually a local celebrity, right? A brand name for your city. So, and then you add to this. Sorry.
It's a conversation that I think is really important. And as you talk about the concept of a local celebrity, and I brought this up on videos before, it's almost like, maybe you want to get into acting. You don't just start acting and suddenly you're a main character that everybody knows and that you're the star of a major film. You have to start and do years and years and years of low tier acting gigs, background scenes, and then as you develop your skill set, you start to work your way up, and then eventually, if you do it consistently for years and years and years, you end up becoming that local celebrity or that movie star that people recognize because you've committed to it for so long. And I think a lot of people have that goal and that outcome without being able to commit to the process that is inevitable that it's going to take. Like even for me, I've been doing this for 5 years-ish, and I'm not even close to where I want to be. But I know that if I keep doing this, I'm going to get there at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I think a lot of people are looking at the outcome as if it's required to get there today without looking at it as a journey. And I think if more people committed to understanding that the long-term goal of becoming that local celebrity is the only way to get there is through relentless action over an extended period of time, you'll be more willing to commit to that, because this is a really great way to get there and it creates a lot of leverage, but not many people are willing to go through that journey. And I think that the next thing I'd like to really unpack with you is, you talked earlier about the fact that you're still editing your own videos, and a lot of people are, in this they're maybe always searching for some level of an excuse. Well, I don't have time to do this, or I'm not techie, or I'm not this, or I can't do that like him or her. And
Hmm.
so what's your process in order to stay consistent? Like, how often are you recording? Are you putting it in your calendar? Are you planning? Obviously, you're doing the editing yourself. What platform? So walk us through what maybe a run-of-the-mill general month would look like for you when it comes to ideation, planning, prepping, executing, editing, and posting.
Yeah, well, just one thing before we get into this, like you said, like you got to
Yeah.
start with low paying gigs. Like I think that people tend to compare themselves with like someone like success story, like final
Yeah.
chapter, we made it, to like I'm just starting, right? So the way you got to see it is like, okay, I get 30 views on a video this week, and the next week I get 45. Man, that's 50% more views, right? Like that's what you need to be looking at. It's like how much I increase. So like just keep that in mind. It's all relative. Just be better than you were yesterday, right? All right. So in terms of creating and having a structure, again, that's something that I tried to do, and recently, until I found one of your video, actually, that's what I use. Like the template that you showed with like the videos with, you know, the posting date, like what has been done, you know, thumbnail, script, blah blah blah, like so you can check that, and a vault of ideas also with like bullet points and stuff. I use this now because it makes much more sense, and I'm a visual guy, so it helps me to see like, all right, that's what's coming. And again, when I don't know what to do, I don't feel super productive, I just open this, start just like jolting some points with whatever video I feel inspired to, and that helps keep the creative mind going, right? um, I recently also started like dedicating days for X, right? So like one day is going to be finding ideas and bullet points for my videos for the month, or 2 months if I feel really productive. I'm still working on my process because it still takes me a lot of time. And I mentioned that I still edit my videos for now, but I started looking into an editor because the guy, you had a guest on your podcast recently, and he said that like he pays him $5 an hour for 40 hours a week, and it's much better for money wise for his time. His time worth more than that, and I agree with this. And recently, my videos just starting taking a lot of time. I use Premiere Pro to edit, and for those who try their end at Premiere Pro, it's not easy. It took me a long while to learn it, and I kind of plateaued now. Like I feel like I've done what I could, and to reach the next level, it would need an investment of time that I'm not willing to put in, because again, this is not what I want to do. I'm not trying to be Peter McKinnon. I'm trying to be a realtor, right? So although I think I fare good, I think my videos are decent, I know there's someone out there that could do it twice as fast, twice as better, because that's what they do, right? So I've been looking to find someone. But otherwise, if you're just starting, definitely edit your stuff. There's stuff that's much easier than Premiere Pro out there. And again, I think it goes, for a caveat to this, I think it depends of like your level of income, where you're at in your journey when you start this. If you're a new agent, you were like me, you're broke, you don't have the money for anything, you have to do it yourself, and it's fine, right? But if you're a more if you want to try your hand at YouTube, and your business doing well and stuff, don't even try to do everything yourself. Just hire someone and keep the creative side for yourself. Like the ideas, like this is your head, that's what we need you for. You can script your videos, film them, and then shoot that to someone, because the editing is going to kill your soul. It sucks. Okay. And it sucks even more because you watch really good videos and you're like, that's what I'm trying to do, and then you're 20 hours in a video and it looks still like shit. You're like, well, I'm never going to get there. So like, and it's, it takes a toll, but I did it and it's fine. But I think I'm at the next chapter now, right? But yeah, sorry. What is the rest of your question? Just so I can.
Yeah, just kind of like around planning and the how you find ideas, how you stay consistent, how often, is because I find that where a lot of people struggle when it comes to creating their content is that they don't do the plan and the prep work. So they block off a time, let's say in a couple of days from now, and they sit down and they're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm going to record content. And then it's like, well, what content? Now I have to spend time finding ideas. Well, now I don't know what to say. Well, now you blocked off 4 hours. You're 2 hours into it. You still don't have what you're doing. You're overwhelmed. You're flustered. You're, distracted and burnt out. And then you don't record. And now you feel like, well, this is just too much. And it's not that it's too much. It's, in my opinion, the game is won before you click record. It's all
Mm-hmm.
the work that you did ahead of time, so that when you get to the point where you're ready to record content, you sit down, you click record, you know exactly what videos, where you have to record them, what you're going to say, and you just get it done. But I think a lot of people
Absolutely.
are overestimating the amount of effort it takes to create content, making it more difficult than it is, but heavily underestimating the work that you should be doing ahead of time in order to make recording easy.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, you're right, man. Like, I watched a video about Alex Hormozy. Like, for those who follow him, he recently
Yeah.
switched his like direction with his content, right? Now, I'm sure you watched this video, but one thing that stick to me is like he started doing a lot more prep work for his post work to be much, much less. And you see a better conversion with this too. So like I tried to do this too, right? So and that again is like I said at first, I'm French, right? So for me to just like bullet points and just talk, it's really hard for me to be conveying the information with the right vocabulary and like be like very convey as much value as I can in a natural fashion. It's not as super easy for me. So I started scripting my video entirely, right? Most people I would suggest just do bullet points if you're able to like get that going, right? But I have a struggle with this. I would also say always script your intro and your end call CDA. Always, just those two parts. It's very crucial to get people to watch your video, to get into it. And if you struggle with your words in the first 30 seconds, people are going to click off. It's like, this guy's a clown. I don't want to watch this. And the end is also important. And then we can get into the nitty gritty of what that should look like. But always script those two parts so it's seamless. And in the middle, you can kind of like find your way, right? Personally, I like to script my stuff. So that's goes in the prep work. I now start all my prep work with thumbnail and title. If I can
Mhm.
find a title and a thumbnail that I like and that makes sense, I'm not doing a video because I can't. I have the best video in the entire world. If your thumbnail and title is shit, no one's gonna click on it. No one's gonna see it. It doesn't exist, right? So really, really important. Again, you can find someone on Fiverr to do it for you. I I think that was my biggest impediment. I try to do everything myself, and I try to be the best at everything myself. So I try to be the best at Canva, the best at ChatGPT, the best at editing, the best at scripting. I don't have the time to do it all, and that's not my job to do it all. So now editing, I'm going to try to give to someone else. Thumbnails, eventually, I think now I have like a process I can do it kind of easily. I know what I'm looking for. I know my vibe because I found the inspiration, like I said, like in someone else's channel. I do like the vibe they're going for. But yeah, you do all you can up front. So when you actually sit down, and that's something else I took from you, is like batch your content. It's very important. Like all you see behind me, all of this, like I don't know if I can't shoot because my camera's static there, but you wouldn't believe how small this area is. Like we have a small apartment. Like there's my wife's doing a sewing right there. Like it's super small, but yet it looks good because I put the effort in. But when I have to set this up, I have to kick them out. I have to put some stuff behind to cover for sound. There's a light there, a light there. This is another light. It takes me 30 minutes to get set up. So if I have to do this to shoot or half shoot because I'm not ready and it turns out to shit, so I just wasted 3 hours. And then the next day I'm like, I don't want to do this again. And then I never do it again, right? So if I can sit down and like bang, 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 4 videos, like even if one is like, okay, I don't like this one, you still have 3 good videos. And then you can start, let's say you put to their schedule, like, all right, every day I'm going to do 2 hours of editing for my video or whatever is it, if you're not doing your editing, whatever, right? But allow time for this because you need to treat this as lead generation, right? Ultimately, that's what it is. So it needs to be in your schedule. It's not just some like whenever I have the time. Like allow time in your schedule to do this. For me, it's at night when my son is sleeping. I can just sit down and like, it's not super. No, people are sleeping, so I can do my follow-ups anyway, right? So
Yeah.
it's not super grueling. It's the time I can just like be with my computer and like it's not. I don't have to create much. It's just like editing is not too bad. Scripting, I struggle a bit at night because I get tired a bit, so the ideas don't flow as easily. But you just gotta use as much time as you can. Do all the work up front, so when you sit down, you know exactly what you're gonna say. So instead of having like an hour of footage that you need to cut down to 8 minutes, you might have 20 minutes. So you save 2 hours of editing and cutting and stuff like that, right? And your video is just gonna be better. Like if every 30 like the video looks like this because you always have to cut
Yeah.
between like words because you don't know what you're saying, it's gonna be hard for someone to take you seriously because they're like, what is this? Like you don't even know what you're saying. As you can like make complete sentences, complete paragraphs without cutting, Like it's more engaging also for people watching you because they feel like you're having a conversation with people, right?
Yeah.
So I think for prep work, I think if you follow the Social Agent Academy kind of guideline, I think that's pretty much what you should aim for, and then you adjust it to your reality. But being prepared, batching content, and oh, sorry, and you said like, where do you find the content? Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Like every realtor in every market is going to do pretty much all of the same, right? So I take from here, I take from there, and it's in my market and it's with me. So even if it's the same video, it's going to be different because it's me, right? And then you can have like some liberties. Like my video next week was like the 5 biggest sale of 2023. So I went and like drone shots, like the 5 most expensive home that sold in Ottawa in 2023. People liked the last one I did last year, so I redid it, and that's kind of like more unique to maybe me, and because I like the cinematic and the dramatic, right? So as long as you kind of sprinkle some of those that are really just your flavor, you can get away with just taking like away with some other people's channel and just make it your own, right? It's going to be different because it's you ultimately, and that's all there is, man. Just preparation.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And I think, one of the important things that you said is making it a priority. You'll always make time for your priorities, but a lot of people treat the lead generation effort that they know that they need to be doing as a negotiable, as not a priority. It's kind of like, I'll do it when I get time, if I get time, when it happens, instead of saying, this is what's going to grow my business. I have to do this. And a lot of people get busy with or overwhelmed with busy activities, not productive activities, which is why they feel like they get to the end of a long day, but their business isn't growing. And I think this needs to be made as a priority, But one of the things that you said there a little bit earlier, I think is going to be a really important talking point that I'd like to pull this full circle with, is that call to action at the beginning and the ending. And you kind of talked about the importance of that. And I can echo that, of how important it is to say, okay, the bulk and the body of your video, you can talk from experience. You can talk from the prep work you did ahead of time, naturally, authentically. But I'm the same as you. I'm very calculated when it comes to what I say in the very beginning and at the very end. What does that look like for you? And what kind of tips and advice can you give to people that, maybe have been, overlooking that aspect and part of the video?
I think that boils down to, again, watching some creators that kind of grab you right from the start and see what they're doing right. I found a guy is George Blackman, I think, if I'm correct. It's he's doing the scripting for Ali Abdal. So like, I'm like, he must know what he's doing, right? And he really breaks down what makes a good CTA. You got to adjust it because he's doing a lot of entertainment driven content. So it's not exactly the same, but basically, all right, there's kind of a lot to unpack, but basically you just want to grab people's attention. So it needs to be, the editing is really important as well. But what you're saying is you create an intrigue. He explains it much better than I'm trying right now. But you create an intrigue, then you tell people what they have to gain, how you're going to deliver this. You also need to let them know real quick why they should listen to you. Why are you an authority in that domain, right? And that needs to be done in like 30 seconds and less, right? It's really, really quick. It's just like, hey, that's what we're doing, like mystery. That's what you're going to get out of this. And by the way, I'm super successful because, and like, let's rolling, right? And set the very basic version of it. But like, it's really important to just get people to like, oh, like what's going on? Like lean closer, be like, oh, like what's going on about this video? And then, there's a whole structure to a video, but the intro is really important. So if you want to look up like George Blackman, he's doing a lot of interesting thing about like breaking down the elements of a script, right? So for the intro, that's pretty much it. For CTAs, there's different school of thought with this. Like I still leave the subscribe part somewhere in my video between points or something like that. And I used to do it very structured, very like a longer version of this. Now it's just a phrase between. It's like, hey, by the way, guys, if you like Ottawa, just, there's content like this every week. So just want to get subscribed. And I move to the next point. I'm not just making it like super sturdy, like a block of like, now I'm talking about subscription. It's really just natural. Throw it out away. Just like, hey, by the way, guys, very natural. And I used to do this at the end, but I've learned at the end of a video, okay, there's something that's called the hive mind. No, it's not the hive mind. It's what the hive, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right? So I don't remember the exact term, but it's like the hive something, right? So what you want to do is have like all your videos here. Okay, and at the end of that video, what's really, really important is you want people to gravitate in your channel. You want to push them to another video because YouTube likes you. The longer people watch your stuff, the more YouTube likes you, the more they're going to recommend your stuff. So at the end, first, never say something like finally or in conclusion or whatever term that can kind of indicate that the video is ending, because people are like, oh, I get the value. Now this is not important. So they just click off, right? What you do is like you point back to something you said in the video. So like after your last point, you're like, back then I mentioned that X, but I found a better way to do it. And I talk about it right here. And then you point your video. That's it. The end. There's nothing else. You know, there's no polite, there's no like, see you guys and bye-bye and click. No, it's just like, hey, by the way, if you like this stuff, you like this one. Boop, finish. And you cut right there.
Yeah.
So people are going to watch to the very end of your video, and the chances. And another thing that you don't want in the end is give them 1,000 options. No, your end script is build around the video that you're gonna propose, and that video needs to be related to the video you just shown, right? So, whatever. Like I think my last few videos on my channel are kind of like that, but I'm still working on that format because it's really important that people. You want to create that same intrigue that you create at the beginning. Create the same intrigue at the end for people to click on that video. You want to make it seem as like if they don't watch the next video, this video was kind of useless. Like they don't have the full picture. Like I did. Oh, exactly. My moving to Ottawa guide. I talk about the city, like everything that's great, or like everything about the city. And at the end, I'm like, but now you might wondering if you can afford living here, and I break this down right here. Boom, the end. So you're like, oh, he's right. Like I love the city, but can I afford to live there? And then they want to watch this, right? So that's a basic example, but that's what you should be aiming to do. You don't want to give them too much space and not too many choices. There's no like playlist. I'd rather specific videos, not 2 videos, not subscribe, like, share, click. No, it's confusing. People need one option. It's this one, because then they click on this. Then you don't even have to ask to subscribe, because if they watch 3 videos, the likelihood of them subscribing is actually very high. So you should be doing this. Have them subscribe by providing value, not by asking, because I don't remember the last time someone asked me to subscribe. I'm like, oh, you're right, I'm going to subscribe. I subscribe because I watched 10 of your videos. I'm like, I might as well subscribe, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it, man. I think it's being very intentional with the activities that you're doing. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short is they treat this very casually, and they just treat it as, I'm just going to post a post. I'm just going to get it out. And if I just keep doing that, it's just going to come together. But, you're treating this as a pillar extension of your lead generation efforts, and you're doing it with design. You're doing it with intent, right? It's kind of the same of if you're prospecting, you've got a script, you have multiple different closes, you have multiple objection handlers, you have multiple different things to get the outcome that you're looking for, and you're doing it by design. You're intentional with it, and I think not too many people are intentional enough with their content. So I absolutely love it, and you've shared a ton of value here. So obviously you and I are partners, and I'm going to make sure that people go to your channel to check out a ton of reference points as you continue to scale. But the question that I'm always curious about is, what kind of drew you to EXP, and why specifically our group? And furthermore, what can people expect when deciding to also partner with you and get your help with practical experience with their channels?
Man, that's such a good question. I've been, like everyone outside of EXP are the same, right? We get calls from people EXP, people in EXP talking to us like, fucking leave me alone, man. I get it. Yeah. And I was one of those people. I was like, I get it. I don't want, this sounds like a scam. I don't want to be part of this. And after being part of like 2-3 different brokerages, 2 different teams, I was like, this feels like a scam. I'm giving like 50% of my commission for nothing. Like, what is that? This is actually a scam. And funny enough, like you had Peter Twollen on your channel, and we actually now part of the same team, right? So we used to be competitors on YouTube because he's really big in Ottawa too. And now we're more like, we work together, right? And when I was getting really over my brokerage kind of stealing off my money, I called Peter because I saw him make the switch. I'm like, hey man, like what's going on with EXP? And he walked me into like, the revenue share is great. Honestly, I'm not really out to get agents under me just yet. Like I feel like I'm going to attract people when I attract people because I'm successful. That's going to come in time, right? So that's not even in my mind when I decide to join EXP. It's just a cool bonus. Like same as the stocks, right? That's like, good. It's nice. I'm not in there for this. I'm here because the commission split is great, and the way EXP works, there's so much, even to a fault, educational content. Everything you need is there to help. And another big attraction to this was actually the Wolfpack, right? We get access to you, we get access to a lot of your resources that you created, and then I got access to Peter, which used to be my competitor. Now he's actually helping me in my market as well. And I don't know, there's so much value, man. Like, and it's value that's for now. It's not an agent that's like 1,000 years old talking to you about putting an ad in the fucking paper. What are you talking about, man? Like, it's 2024. What are you talking about, right? And I was with Royal LePage here. That's exactly what it was. There was resources, or the what felt like resources, but then you sit there and you're like, this doesn't apply to anyone nowadays. Like, what is that, right? And EXP is really on the forefront of technology, of always improving, making life for agents easier, and adapting to the actual reality of agents now, that we don't really need an office. We don't really need to go and sit with people. Like, I can meet people at Starbucks, man. I don't need an office that I pay an extra 10% of my commission on to go there twice a year, So, man, there's so many advantages. And I've become that guy that's annoying. That's like, hey, have you considered EXP, right? Almost like a pusher. And I do it like, not honestly, not even because I want them under me. It's just because I think that something that's missing in the industry is like realtors helping each other. We should act as a team, and sometimes we don't. We try to like step on each other. Yeah. And I haven't felt this in EXP. Like, even in our subgroup, which is like Wolfpack Peak here in Ottawa, we meet once a quarter. We have a online meeting every week and just shoot the shit. Just be human. Just like share our experience. Sometimes just like let some steam off and like be like, all right, like I'm not the only one in my situation. And that I felt more surrounded than I've ever felt in any like brick and mortar brokerage. So I could go on, man, but like it was just the right decision for me. And that money and I can go to my branding, to building me, and can go to my family, man. I don't need to be paying for a Remax or for Royal LePage. They don't need my money, right? I need it. So I rather keep it. So for a bunch of reasons, but if you guys, like someone watching this, it's not actually with EXP. Well, if you join with Mike, you get tons of value. But with EXP itself too, like it's been the best decision I took in my career so far, for sure.
Well, I love that, dude, and I appreciate that. And I think it's, you said it perfectly. Even just the situation with you and Peter of, this model and this opportunity allows you to turn your competition into your partners. And now instead of working against, you're working together. And, it's so powerful to see what you guys have done. And I can't wait to see what happens with your channel. So again, I appreciate you being on here, man. You've shared a ton of tactical value, especially from angles that not many people really touch on, that I think are the most important and most relevant. And I'm really excited to see what you do with your channel going forward.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me. And I want to leave people with that one thing is from Alex Morsi, actually. And it really helped me when I find myself up against a wall and like a shitty day, shitty week. He says, this is what hard feels like. Yeah. Like, it's going to be hard. So when you feel like it is hard, it's supposed to be hard. This is what hard feels like, and this shouldn't be easy. So just push through, sit down, make the content, be successful, and get that bag.
100%, man. Well, again, thank you, brother. I'm going to be linking all of your incredible content below, and also your calendar invite. So if there's going to be a lot of people right now that maybe aren't where they need to be or feel like they should be, and you're an incredible resource. So I encourage people to reach out to you, check out your channel, and subscribe so we can continue to see your content pivot over time and you become the local celebrity.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm always there to help. If anyone wants to have a conversation, just shoot the shit. Like, we're all here to help each other, right? So don't hesitate.
Definitely. Take advantage of that, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Check out the next one, and we'll see you in the next video.